tell me where we are. What's happening?
Okay, today we're back in Ishinomaki for our fourth build in Ishinomaki and number 17 for the Playground of Hope.
17 play sets.
17 play sets.
Do I hear a yeah?
Yeah! We did 17. And we got 3 more already planned, so we'll be up to 20 by the end of September. So that's really exciting stuff for us.
So you're keeping busy?
Keeping busy.
Do you have another job, or is this your life now?
Well, actually I have 2 other companies that I'm trying to run and do this at the same time, but I'd say Playground of Hope is taking about 70% of my time these days. But it's so much fun, I don't want to stop.
And who made this possible, this play set and stuff?
This was made possible by a very generous donation from JP Morgan, because it's not only the play set that you see behind me, but we also put in a water fountain for the kids. We put in some exercise equipment for the elderly folks that are nearby in the temporary housing. We got some public housing across the street. And we also put in some play equipment over here for the toddlers to play on. Put in a big gazebo. So it was quite a bit of money that we needed to renew this park. It came about because the city of Ishinomaki had heard about the work that we were doing, and is it getting smoky or is it?
It's very smoky, yeah. Fire?
Fire, yeah. I think they're burning wood or something. So yeah, the city of Ishinomaki reached out to us and asked if we could renew this park. It's Kaihatsu Koen number 599.
Kaihatsu Koen number 599.
99. Yeah.
Do you think it's cool that maybe that's not a question we should ask. No, do you think it's cool that the governments don't do this and people like you and other generous people have to take all their time and do stuff to rebuild the infrastructure?
That's a great question. I get asked that quite often. There's a couple things to consider. The enormity of the catastrophe that happened along the Tohoku coast. The governments really have their hands full with some pretty major things like getting housing built for the 300,000 people that I think they're still homeless. They got areas of the city that still flood at high tide and lots of companies that are still struggling. Although they know parks are an important part of the rebuilding process, they have a to-do list, and it's a to-do list that I wouldn't wish on anyone. So unfortunately, it's kind of down, and they're saying, well, we'll rebuild the parks in like 3 or 4 years when we raise the land and we move people up into the hills. So it's on their to-do list. So we're stepping in to do something more temporary nature. In some cases, more permanent, like we're doing now. But we will also be planning to reach out to the Japanese government soon. I think we needed to prove ourselves a little bit, that what we can do. And I hope that they'll utilize our abilities in the future and provide some funding for us, because I think they should be providing us some money as well.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's really cool that Ishinomaki came to you.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Hey, we want you to build us a park.
Yeah.
How'd that feel?
That was great. It was actually a bit of a milestone for us, because when we first started this, and I was talking to some Japanese people about, this is the program, this is what we want to do, and I started getting a lot of, I don't think you're gonna be able to do this in Japan because, there's rules and regulations and safety regulations, and it's made of wood, so you can't build wooden play sets in Japan. And I got all that kind of not negative feedback, but there was a lot of people that thought it wouldn't be possible. And here we are now, after 16 builds, they reached out to us, and that's huge. And we hope that it'll happen in the future. And not only in Tohoku, but Playground of Hope now has plans to expand throughout all of Japan to needy communities or communities that are facing challenges. Similar to Tohoku, where they have small communities, fishing villages, farming communities that have small pockets of families in them, but not enough tax revenues to afford, play equipment in their parks. So we believe the same model that we've created for Tohoku can be expanded out through the rest of Japan.
I think that's a very interesting message for the world, because nobody knew how bad it was here before the tsunami came.
No,
You know,
no.
Half of the businesses in downtown Ishinomaki were closed.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Yeah.
Nobody was coming there. People were moving out.
Yeah.
And that's not a rare thing. That's a common thing.
That's a common thing in Japan.
Increasing.
Yeah, it's increasing. Yeah. You have what they call dying communities, where you have the population of people over 60. It's like 40% of the population in some cases. So there's lots of tax revenue that's being lost there. But the community is very tight and a healthy community. So I've talked to some of the the teenagers in these communities and said what do you want to do in the future when you get older? And they want to be fishermen like their dads and their dad's dad was. So the schools and the fishing associations are working together to bring up the kids to be fishermen. They love their town. But they're struggling, with finance because there's not a lot of tax revenues. So I don't think, just because there's a small population of kids, few kids shouldn't equal no parks. So we can come in there with grant money and donations like JP Morgan and help these communities, have parks.
So how do you feel?
I feel pretty good, man. I had this little girl come up to me after the ribbon cutting ceremony and hand me this little thank you note rolled up and tied. And I got all teary-eyed. And her mom had said she was so excited about coming today that she wanted to write me a thank you note. And she had it written in crayon in her own handwriting. She must have been like, I don't know, 3 years old, 4 years old, Nana-chan. And that's what it's all about. So it's pretty good feeling. Although I am tired. It's a lot of work went into this park. Everything from cutting up the old the metal play sets that were here. We had to dig them out of the ground. We had to cut them up. We had to pull up pavement, dig holes. So it's huge work. But it's a good feeling. Feel pretty good.
Yeah. How was the JP Morgan people? They worked pretty hard?
The JP Morgan people were great. In fact, this was our quickest build to date out of the 17. We built this thing in 2 days. Which usually takes 3 to 3.5 days for a set this size. But we're also getting a bit more organized as well. We started yesterday with 60 tasks, and we had 57 of them completed by 5 o'clock. So that's pretty awesome. They work together as 28 people in total from JP Morgan, and they're out there sweating and, working with power tools and drilling holes and hammering. It was good stuff.
Very cool. I was impressed. Yeah.
And
she's playing. Go!
That's a great thing. A great thing about this location is there's so many kids around here. So we've got 3 temporary housing units that are all within a 5-minute walking distance, and then we've got a public housing complex across the road here, directly across the road, at an elementary school that's just behind us. And a community center adjacent to us. So, and then all around us are neighborhoods with lots of young families. So, this is huge. You look around you can see tons of kids. I think this is going to get lots of workout. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else you want to say?
That's it, man.
Awesome.
All right.